a browser over here in Substack. This is all exciting stuff. If I am live, hello. I don't think I am yet. Technical
Dana, you're
difficulty.
live. Look at the
I
private
am
chat.
live. Okay, great. I cannot tell. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Whatever Show. Apologies for the technical challenge there. I am Dana DuBois. I am very excited to be here today for Fine Feminist Hour. I am coming to you live from a secret location in South Florida known as my mom's bedroom. And Lawrence is doing tech support behind the scenes for StreamYard. My very special guest today is Anna Wick. She will be joining in about 30 seconds. She joined and her audio went out. Long time, or at least recent viewers of the Daily Whatever Show will know we're having this issue with StreamYard that we have to come on and off in order to all hear one another. Anna will be joining me any moment. And there she is. Good morning, Anna.
Sorry, I can't hear Dana.
Again.
I can
Uh,
go away. I can come back.
I don't know if that will fix. Try it. Let's try that. If not, I might need to go away and come back. Let me open the chat and make sure they can hear me. I have no idea what's up with our StreamYard. Want me? Yeah. Hold on one second. Leave and come back again. Okay. Let's see if that helps. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to open us up in Substack so that I can see who all is in the chat and say a quick hello, because what a start, man. There's never a dull moment. And Lawrence, because I know that you are listening, even though you are not on live with me, it is very strange to be here without you, especially as I'm traveling, because I don't know what I'm doing with StreamYard quite yet. Let's hope Anna rejoins. Oh, there you are. Are we just going to keep freezing up all day? We were talking backstage because Lawrence had a really weak connection of like, that's it. They found us, we're domestic terrorists, and they're just throttling our pipeline. That might just be what's happening. Who knows? Um, yeah. I'm gonna give it 1 minute for Anna to come back. Hello.
Hi, I can hear you now. This is great.
Oh my gosh, I can hear you too, Anna. Welcome to the
Technology.
right. It's disorienting, and it's particularly disorienting because I'm traveling, so I'm like, here's me on like a tiny like portable table sitting in the corner of my mom's bedroom, because I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, my mom and my kids are in the other room, and I'm like, Anna and I are going to get into some saucy shit. And I don't want to feel like I have to censor myself because my mom and my kids are listening.
Oh man, I know. It's funny being around my own children. I'm like always like, oh wait, I need to really. Sometimes I'll giggle at something. I'm like, Mom, what are you laughing at? I'm like, it's a private joke for mommy. You can't. You
Right.
can't.
It's
Sorry.
mommy humor. Um, Welcome back to the Daily Whatever Show, and welcome to Fine Feminist. This is my new um, Feminist Thursday takeover of the Daily Whatever Show. Lawrence has his own takeover on Mondays.
Oh,
Um,
I have to tune
it's
in for
called not,
his.
yes, it's called Not Straightforward. It's very queer focused. He does not do a forward show. But yeah, we started doing that just a couple weeks ago because we were like, we have these topics we each want to dive into that we fully support the other person, but not our thing. And
Yeah.
so it made sense to have our own days. But before we jump into all of that, Anna, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to all the folks tuning in?
Hi, everybody. Well, I'm Anna Wick. I am in rainy Northern California right now. We're getting battered with a crazy storm. I did joke around a little bit the other day. I said 2.5 inches is more than I've gotten all years, but that's self-imposed celibacy. It's very wet on the outside, guys. Very
Oh my gosh.
um, but yeah, I'm a full-time. I just celebrated my 8-year anniversary. A full-time food and beverage photographer turned
Congrats.
memoirist on Substack. one of my extended family members actually turned me on to Substack a couple years back, and I started
Yes.
trying to figure out how to like write about my life story, but also write about the things that I think we want to discuss today that are just part of living life as a woman. And that
Right.
launched a Substack journey a couple years back. So
I love it.
grateful to be here with you, Dana. Yeah.
I am thrilled that you are here. I love your writing.
Thank
I don't actually know your photographic work, but congratulations on 8 years as a photographer and writer. Like living full time as a creative in
Thank you.
this economy is not easy. So
Oh, the
I
ups and
applaud
downs.
you.
I like to tell people, and if you want to find my photography, I'm very open about it. I use
Okay.
my real name on my Substack. It's same for my photography. Just Google Anna Wick photography. It'll pop right up. It's fun. It's taken
Yes.
me to some interesting places. I no longer eat top ramen for dinner every single night out of the week. And I
Congratulations.
managed to pay my rent on time and see my kids. So I'm winning.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is kind of living the dream. I was actually going to ask you if Anna Wick was your real name, if you are live on the internet with your real name, because it would be such a good nom de plume too, but it
I,
is your real
I
name.
I love that because it would make a really great like non de plume stage name. I'm like, no,
Yes.
it really is my name. And so it's I
Good
get a
for
lot of
you.
I'll introduce myself. I'll get teased a lot. They're like, you're John Wick's little sister. I'm like, I had this name before that movie came
Right.
out. Like, let's go.
Long before.
Easy
Plus,
to
like
spell.
it's like it has this, it has a sexual connotation too. Like I don't, Wick to me just sounds sort of
I was gonna go
lightly phallic.
with the revenge theme of like I'm just writing my enemies. I'm gonna deal with them via my
Right.
pen. But yes, it
Right.
has a sexual connotation to it, which I'm sure has aided me along the years.
Uh, Undoubtedly. I have a this is not my real last name. Dana is my real first name, but I am not I am Dana DuBois everywhere on the internet. But
I love it. That's probably smart.
yes.
I gave up. There was so much evidence of me before I started my Substack again, because I go back to my photography journey and
Hmm.
getting my Substack journey started. There was a little bit like crossover with that Instagram social media crowd. They've all mostly fallen off. I have a few people who've continued to read my work, who subscribed, who are actually in my area, friends of mine.
Oh,
And I'm like,
okay.
I'm thankful that you continue. Some couple of gay men, they love reading all my stuff. A couple of girlfriends that have moved away at this point. I'm like, oh, I appreciate you all so much. But yeah,
Right.
I just stopped trying to pull over my audience from Instagram, and
Yeah.
it's been messy. But I'm kind of just focusing on Substack for Substack, and my
Yes.
Instagram, my business photography at this point. So I'm like, it's living these two separate like identities. But
Right.
am I really?
Right. I'm sure they cross over some. And this
They do
is part of being a woman on the internet or a woman living out loud, I guess.
that part.
And yes, it is. The word Madonna whore is what came to mind, and that's not quite it. The professional and the
Yeah,
personal, the duality of it, and that's one of the topics I really want to dive into because you're a beautiful writer, you do
thank you.
great work, and also you are audacious on Substack about being a very attractive and sexual woman, which
Yeah.
my I think it's because of the Daily Whatever show that my content skews toward very political content creators, and so I have all of these very serious, earnest voices, and I'm like, where are all the sexy like women being audacious online? With this show, I'm hoping to find more of them because I'm always I always want to hear women's points of view, and I'm very interested in women. Um, I'm just going to keep calling it living out loud. My personal Substack apart from the Daily Whatever show is I write out loud. And
Oh,
it's this idea, yeah, it's this idea of like I am showing up.
yeah.
And you are a living proof of that. But there's such a duality to it. And that's something I would love to dive into and explore with you of like, how do you get taken seriously for your words?
Yeah.
when you know that it's your physicality sometimes that's bringing folks in, but when they're both equally you, right?
Oh my gosh, it's such a fine line to walk, and one that I have
Yes.
walked. And again, just I love the living out loud, writing out
Mhm.
loud concept of whatever we do as women, we will be judged for by somebody, no matter what. No matter how perfectly we walked
Yes.
that line, no matter how wide the steps were that we took or narrow, they don't care.
Oh,
Someone's gonna judge us at the end of the
yeah.
day. And I part of my story that's so inherent to my writing work, right? I could
Yeah.
say maybe, and definitely has worked into how I live my life out loud here in
Yeah.
Sacramento. Um, is I grew up in the purity culture movement. I grew up
Right.
being sexually objectified on one hand, where I'm like, was handed turtlenecks. I just wrote something where I said I was handed turtlenecks instead of therapy after a very traumatic, incident involving a family member. And it sexualized me in the wrong ways. It made me view my body as being
Yes.
like shameful sexual. I saved
Right.
myself for marriage. It's a big, big part of my story. It's a big part of my memoir work that I'm writing on right now. Um,
Yes.
and a big part of my memoir work has been making peace with the fact that 16 years ago, I did save myself as a virgin on my wedding night, married
Mhm.
someone, didn't have sex with anybody else for 4.5 years, I think almost like 5 years. Divorced for a wide variety of things I talk about again on my Substack, the whole
Yes.
journey's there. But as I'm going through the old material and writing about the origin story of my marriage, my
Yeah.
courtship, saving myself as a virgin,
Right.
I'm trying to also parallel write about my life post divorce, post purity
Yes.
culture, learning how to date for the first time, and making peace with the fact that I have a lot of stories that, maybe my kids are going to read someday when they're my age and they're going to go,
Yes.
Mom, why did you put that down? I'm like, I lived life out loud. I
Right.
can't, I'm not going to apologize for forever about it, but I learned a lot of things along the way. And the number one thing I learned
Right.
along the way was to stop shaming myself for enjoying sex and being a sexual
Right.
person and coming out in a couple of senses. I do identify as bisexual, but
Yeah.
coming away from that shame and that guilt and saying,
Right.
pleasure is mine, but I need to learn how to balance my pleasure. What does that look like? Demanding, my pleasure be centered in
Right.
a relationship with all of these bozos that I'm now like, oh my God, my parents held the door shut on me dating anybody in the real world. But now, as a 25-year-old woman, I'm having to learn to date for the first time. It was messy. It was imperfect. It was fun at times. And it was not so fun at times. So I have to
Right.
make being honest about all of those experiences and the good ones
Well,
too, the bad ones, but plenty of those.
wow. So here's one duality I love that I've read on your Substack in your stories that you're like self-imposed celibacy in order to have the mental bandwidth to write your memoir,
Yeah.
right? That's
Yes.
about sex. Like that's a
Yes.
very funny paradox.
It is. I mean, a good portion of it is about sex, right? Like
Right.
some of my story was about it's such a weird place. And I wanted to take it back a little bit to you saying, like, you wake up every day and you read stuff that's in the political realm, very serious realm.
Yeah.
I think a majority of us, even perhaps your audiences here, they
Yeah.
are, we are, I am. Part of my origin story was being again molested by an older family member. Ugh. But seeing all
Yeah.
the Epstein stuff, it's like there's a big part of
Yes.
us that wants to like go back into that. I need to shut off everything that's sexual about myself. I need to not appear as if I'm putting out into the world or appear attractive, etc. So my story is about sex. It's about writing about the origin stories of where that shame started, how my parents perpetuated it, purity
Yeah.
movement, and yes, the body rowdy times I've had in a wide variety of cities and places. and the enjoyment of
Yes.
that, when I learned from that, and self-imposed celibacy this year, because I realized somewhere along the way last year, as I was really starting to write my memoir, um, that I kept distracting myself. I was like, yeah, hey, go away. I gotta write about this thing over here about sex. Stop bothering me. Like, you're not worth my time, unfortunately. And I broke a couple of hearts because they're like, I thought I was special. I'm like, that's part of the problem. You all think you're special, and that reflects on me. I got to figure out how not to convey that to every man on the first date, that you're special because I'm in your presence. Let's not do that.
That is,
So some serious
wow, that's
self-reflection happened, and I was like, I think I'm the problem. I think I need to literally just sit in a corner with my pen and write. I'm joking. I'm not quite doing that, but
right. Oh, but that's really interesting and really antithetical to what I've seen in dating culture. So if I'm hearing you correctly and reading it, because I have read this some in one of your essays, your problem was you would start sleeping with men or a man, and he
yeah.
would assume we're in a relationship where you were like, no, I don't want that right now. I just
Yeah.
am. So super interesting because that's very different from what my lived experience has been, which has been the opposite of like, well, I'm looking for a relationship and dude's like,
And they're like,
"Oh,
why?
and
No.
how much of that that feels like another way in which women lose, right? That we're
Yeah,
always
we're
uh,
losing both ways.
it's maybe that's not just a woman thing either. Maybe that's every gender, everyone is just battling the whatever you're trying to get, the other person is on the other side of it.
Well, I learned in all my self-reflection,
Yeah.
as far as on my end, why it was that whoever found themselves in in my good graces is the object of my temporary affection, right?
Hmm.
I realized that I was got really good at doing the very thing that purity culture asked me to do, which was
Right.
lavishing a man with attention, not really saying no or rocking the boat, giving him my full self, physically, emotionally, and in ways I was subconsciously doing it, where I'm just like,
Right.
God, like I'm making you feel like incredibly special, like you're the most special man in the world. It's almost like I was trained
Ah.
to do this. What is no? I need to be a bigger bitch. I'm sorry. I need to know. And I can't walk that. For me, I'm like, this is not a line I can walk for I think a year. I need to step off this
Right.
path and go
You're
somewhere else.
going you're going boy sober. Have you heard of the boy sober slash man sober movement?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Learning to
Yeah.
decenter men, and
Yes.
I agree with all of that. But it is equally frustrating when you are trying to find a longer term relationship and everyone's like, wow, the fuck boys of the world, right? They're like, I don't know if I can fit you in on
Right.
Monday, Thursday, Saturday because I'm just so tired from my Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday dates.
Oh
Like,
my God.
get me off.
I love Lawrence's comment from the chat that he's like the universe is a trickster and sends you exactly the opposite of what it is you're looking for. I'm really curious. Well,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what you just said of like here you grew up in purity culture. You
Mm-hmm.
learned shit about sex, but you learned
Or
how to
navigating
make
being around men.
or
Yeah.
Nate, sorry, you cut out there for a second. Navigating what?
Navigating being around men, period. Like I wasn't
Gotcha.
allowed to. Like sex,
Ah,
I didn't learn very much. And I just finished writing a whole chapter about preparing to see my beloved for the fourth time ever and hoping that that was going to be the trip that maybe he proposed to me. I'm like,
oh my
oh, I
God.
really didn't learn shit about men before
Right.
I started
It's
to
so
this.
Bridgerton, isn't it? It's so Bridgerton. Like,
Very,
oh, he has come to call 3 times and he has brought you a plant.
yes.
Perhaps the fourth time at the dance he will propose. Um,
I grew up in a Jane Austen worshiping world. Yes, that
oh my
style of,
God. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. But you did learn, whether
Yeah.
consciously or subconsciously, how to elevate a man and make him feel really good, which maybe is impacting you now. What I want
Yeah.
to hear about though is so you married very young. How old were you when you got married? Like 19, 20,
21,
21.
21. Yeah.
Okay.
Still a stay-at-home daughter up until then.
Oh my gosh. So you get married, you finally get to have sex. Was
Yes.
it any good, first of all? I've always worried about these women who and men who grow up and don't have sex till they get married, and then they have to figure out something that it does not necessarily come naturally. Like
They're
the
like, wow, I didn't expect the penis to go like this.
right
It
and
was supposed to just,
right.
be straight and
Uh,
fit. And
right,
I
right. But like how long like was it good from the start? And did you how did you learn along the way in your marriage to start?
Sure. How did I learn along the way in my marriage? That is a really good question. It felt like he had more sexual knowledge than me. I like to say, I had my first orgasm with him, with my ex-husband. I didn't
Okay.
know what it was like to experience like me receiving oral sex for the first time. That was
Okay.
not something that was taught in the
Right.
Christian anatomy handbooks I was given in the months leading up to my marriage that I had already
Right.
snuck looked at. As a teenager, I was already very interested in the idea. I just
Right.
I didn't know that women were capable of having an orgasm. That's where I was at 21.
Oh
So
my
I
gosh.
did enjoy learning
Right.
something from him. I did
Good.
enjoy, learning how to explore my body more. I liked intercourse. I liked sex with him.
Good.
That was not a big problem. But also, I just say, I feel like on the one hand, I was extremely unlucky / lucky marrying him. My life
Yes.
is what it is now because of having an extremely shitty, arranged, conservative Christian trad wife marriage. But
Right.
on the other hand, I feel lucky in that the exploring sex was not a really big part of my struggle. It eventually
Got it.
led to some stuff where it's like nobody cheated on each other in my marriage. That's not how my marriage ended. But I felt like I was very empowered sexually. And I kind of had this little inkling in the back of my head. This is where I'm like trying to make peace with my memoir, where I'm like, what would it be like to have sex with other people? And like
Right.
I'm a married good Christian wife, mother of
Right.
two, and I'm over here going, he can't know that I'm having smutty thoughts about, what would it be like to have sex with women? What would it be like to have sex
Mm,
with people? So I'm over here going, I'm trying to not let you know. In the back of my head, I'm thinking about this. I need to be good girl, good girls. Like, shape up.
right. It's so interesting. There's only like one way for a woman to be in that
There
culture and
is.
when married.
And a receptor for him mostly. Oh, I'm like, I mean, thanks for the orgasm occasionally, buddy, but like all I learned was to be a spiritual, physical receptacle for you. Great. Like
That
that's
word is so clinical, receptacle.
yeah, but I mean that's
Uh,
I think what a lot of women are
Yeah.
given a fairly blasé sex ed, which is like, you know what? You just lay there and take it. And
Right.
don't ask for much. So, how did I come out of that? Not well. Like when I started dating right off the bat,
Right.
I had a lot of learning to do. I remember the first time a man told me I used too much teeth with the blowjob. I was like, oh, God. Okay. Well, embarrassing. Figure it out.
Oh my gosh. So here you are, 25. You've only
Yes.
known this one guy. But you left your marriage for I
For
remember
different.
we talked when you were on with Lawrence and me couple months ago. You had like
Yeah.
a crazy story with him of like I'm trying to remember all the details, but he was making guns, if I
Hence
remember.
me writing a book. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was making guns. We're coming up on our 12-year anniversary of getting raided by an ATF SWAT team where I was home alone with my daughters. So
Oh my God.
there's a lot of there's a lot of material, let's just say, for the book. So yeah, but that was why
Yes.
our marriage ended up fracturing and going through this
Right.
downward spiral. It wasn't an immediate like I gotta go and never be with you ever again. I fled, but it was still like still give him a chance kind of thing.
Right. Well, because that was all you knew,
That's all
right?
I knew. I didn't have any clearly no dating experience. Add to the top of that, no college degree, was held back from college, no work
Right.
experience, held back from working. All I knew how to do was to, and we'll segue into some fun spicy stories here. All I knew how to do was to cook, clean, and sweep. And I applied to kitchens because what do you do in kitchens? You cook, you clean, and you sweep. And I did
Sure.
it well. And wow, I was not expecting. In my mid 20s, I did not view myself as someone who was very like sexual in terms of like
Right.
appearance or what I put out into the world.
Right.
I was probably a little skinnier than I am now, but definitely 12 years younger. But
Yeah.
I was not expecting to get the kind of attention that I was from my
Oh,
male colleagues in the various arenas that I stepped into. So
oh
it
my
was
gosh.
eye-opening. I was like, whoa, okay. I didn't know I was being propositioned right now. Is that what this is? And sometimes very cluelessly, like I ended up in bed with a boss a couple of times, maybe more than a couple.
Ooh.
But like I've got some stories that are gonna go in the book. They're,
Right. We can't give everything away. Um,
yeah.
where and how did the shift happen between, naive good girl doing
Sure.
your Christian duty, your marriage falls apart for these reasons that are
Yeah.
pretty understandable, and then
Yeah.
here you are trying to make your way in the world as a mid-20s mom.
Having a late adolescent stage is how I like to look at it now that I've
Yes.
had some time
Oh,
between then. Because I didn't go to college, I didn't have wild party days, and a
right.
bunch of my friends are like, at 14, I was giving blowjobs and dropping ass, and I'm like,
Right.
okay, that was not me. And I'm talking male friends are saying that. So
Right.
some good male friends, I'm like, wow, your childhood was radically different than mine. I
Yes.
I like I didn't know it was going to kind of veer into like more of like a party girl exploratory stage. And I did some, but at the same time, not to the, how do I phrase this? At the same time, I was also battling my ex with a bunch of stuff and like trying to like,
Mhm.
I was living over here in California. He's here in, the great northern state with my children and not letting them come back. I'm not telling him
Ooh,
what's going on in my life. He doesn't know. He doesn't have insider knowledge. I'm just living my life out loud over here, however messy it is, while also simultaneously over here trying to go through a divorce, fight for custody, etc. So had this late adolescent exploratory stage in a really messy time period of my life. Um, and I didn't do it all well, but I'm not really sure like what the other options were. I'm really glad I didn't end up getting remarried. I'm glad that,
right.
I didn't end up in a long-term relationship with any of the schmucks I had a one-night stand with, right? In a bar or a hotel or wherever in my car. It's like
Oh my
I
gosh.
did some crazy stuff, but I also didn't know it was like, should you really be doing this right now? It was like it was all I came from this world of where it was all cordoned off to
Yeah.
okay, you got to kind of look cool, look like you know what you're doing in the work world and hang with people and make friends for the first time outside of church circles. So it was an interesting time period for me. Yeah.
Wow. Did it feel like when you look back at this time period, was it an empowered time period or did it feel like people were taking advantage of your naivete?
There was both. I definitely got taken advantage of by a lot of men. I mean, one of my little stories is like hiding in the back grain room of a brewery while the guy's fiance is pounding on the locked door, and he's like, "Just
Oh,
stay hidden." Like I'm didn't
oof.
got myself into a bad situation
Right.
on more than one occasion, right? What was empowering was what was empowering was learning to talk with other women, learning to hear their
Mm,
stories, learning to listen to some of their life
right.
and dating and sex advice because I was such a naive, green, around the edges
Yeah.
person that I didn't know what was up, what was down, what I should or
Sure.
shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Um, and I did have some empowering experiences with a number of heterosexual men that were very kind, very sweet, very gentlemanly, treated me well, fully asked for consent. And I had plenty that weren't. It was a
Mm,
really mixed bag in my 20s. And
right.
yeah. I think my deeper evaluations to where I'm able to write about it now started coming out of
Yes.
when I came out of a bad relationship in COVID that I had put up with a lot of really blah bullshit from my ex-boyfriend at the time, and I walked
Mm,
away from him for those reasons. But then I asked myself, why did I stay for so long? And I
right.
began really evaluating why I was staying in relationships with men who would just pick me instead of me saying, hey, no, I get to choose you, and I get to choose you
Right.
for XYZ reasons, not, oh, you find me attractive too? Awesome. Let's go to bed.
Right.
I, yeah. Nothing against casual sex. I'm very pro casual sex. I'm very pro, I don't even like the word casual sex. What's a good replacement phrase
Right.
for that? I am very
Uh,
pro exploratory, anything you want to do with your full consciousness and your full
right.
consent.
Yes.
Any style of explore of sex you want to have, go for it.
I like that you're
That's-
clarifying that from casual. The word
Yeah.
casual bothers me. For me, sex is never casual, even if it is not something that I see growing into the love of my life relationship. Like, I think
Yeah.
that generally, this is just my bias, and everyone's mileage varies here, but I'm like, it's never fully casual. Like, people, I think a lot of problems arise because people can't acknowledge that it is important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you
Yes.
are being naked literally, but also spiritually, whatever you want to, however you want to call it, with someone. You
Yeah.
are exposed, you are very exposed, and there should at least be an acknowledgement of that, of like, even if this is only lasting for an hour or 10 minutes or however long this is lasting for, like,
Yeah.
it's, there is an importance there, a gravitas that I feel like gets lost. So I like saying it's not casual, it's simply exploratory or non-relationship driven.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
I think that takes it back again to that line that that we're now seeing at play in the world, where it's like, as a
Mhm.
woman you can only be a Madonna or a whore. As a young adult teenager, I was obviously dealing with purity culture that told me sex was only for under 7 layers of covers with the lights off with your husband.
Oof,
What does it
right.
what is it what does it mean to be an empowered sexual being as a man, woman, whatever, having conscientious sex, making conscientious decisions
Conscientious.
and consenting decisions? And we can take that word casual out of it, because you're right, it's never
Yeah.
casual to take off your clothes and be intimate with someone, but it's also not something that should be put on a pedestal and
Hmm.
reserved for somebody else telling you you can do it now. That's just
Right.
icky. I don't want the church watching. Or
Right. And
unless that's a kink, right? But
right. That which is forbidden or scary becomes eroticized. I mean, that's a universal truth, right?
it is, yeah.
Um,
It's just
oh
living.
God, there's some,
Sex is just living,
it is.
right? Yeah.
Yes. I'm trying to decide where to steer the conversation here, because my two thoughts are going toward, I'll let you pick which way you want to steer. Yeah.
Sure.
When you started, we need to talk about the memoir. I want to dive more into that. I also feel like we can't have this conversation in isolation of the political moment we're living in, where we're seeing, um, we've been hearing about the Epstein files for so long. We're seeing files released, released, released. We're hearing from
Mm,
victims.
yes.
Do you, I mean, it must be hard to see those, and to see these very young, they're not young women, these girls who
Yeah.
were brutalized by older, more powerful men, and see some of your lived experience in that, I would think, like,
Sure.
both,
I mean, there's a bunch of my lived experience I'm
like,
seeing play out in the political realm. And by
yeah,
political realm, I mean our entire existence right now,
yeah,
right?
it colors
My, my,
everything.
my brother is heading to work. Hi, bye, Joe.
Hi, brother. Hi, Anna's brother.
So we have coinciding schedules this morning. He always leaves at 7:45, so I'm like, we're getting there. Um, the political realm just means our everyday life. Everything,
Hmm.
well, from the coffee I'm drinking in my cup right now, which was heavily tariffed, right,
Yep.
to the wine I might have tonight, to my autonomous choices around my sexual reproductive rights. Right. So it is tough, and including the Epstein shit and being a survivor of childhood sexual abuse myself. It's
Yes.
been tough. When I say I pull back from wanting to date, it is partially driven by men just don't feel safe right now. I don't feel safe putting myself out there sexually. It's also driven by, again, a reclamation of what I know to be mine. My body is mine. My enjoyment of sex is mine, and I feel like I've
Yes.
veered course in this climate where men, even liberal men, are like, just not, it's not working out for me. I'm feeling
Oh,
pressured. I'm feeling like just icky and grody and gross about it right now. So how can I dive back into
yeah.
enjoying what is mine? And we are struggling right now, I would say, overall as a society, if you have a beating heart and empathy for understanding how we let entire generations of women, and let me rephrase that, entire generations of girls, of minors, slip through
Yes.
the cracks and get abused, and how we let those abusers set the standards for what was considered beautiful, and those standards were set by pedophiles. So there's a lot of, I think, of conscious reckoning happening for us right now.
There is. And do you find it creeping in as you're writing this memoir? Because, memoir is an unearthing, it's deeply personal, but it doesn't happen in a vacuum. So, how do you
Yeah.
write a memoir about you know, a girl growing into a young woman in this culture, and then the reckoning and becoming this very living out loud sexual person without it like being colored, or is it being colored by what's happening politically right now?
I mean, it is being colored by what's happening politically right now. I talk about this a little bit, but like, the former church that I went to when I was married with my kiddos, that church denomination is the same one that Pete Hegseth attends. That
Oh, that
it's
fucker, God.
the
Who
the
is
guy the guy that
yeah,
started it, who I grew up being educated by his books, like Her Hand in Marriage, Doug Wilson. He just
Doug
he just
Wilson.
had Pete Hegseth pray over him. CNN is it Pamela Brown, I believe is her name, is dropping a new segment today about women survivors from that whole,
Oh,
like,
really?
from
Which
the
network is? Oh, sorry.
CNN is
Oh,
dropping
good.
a segment today with Pamela Brown about survivors of those churches, of Doug Wilson's churches. So it is affecting me. It's influencing my writing. I'm trying to take more of a three-pronged approach. Haha, we could dive into a little threesome joke there. Three-pronged approach. Three-pronged approach to my writing, which is evaluating my childhood through the lens of the sexual abuse, my parents' response, my setup for my marriage, and current day. I am writing from a current, like, wherever I'm at in the world, whatever I'm doing, a current day perspective as well. So it is, I'm just tying it in. I'm not trying to like go, okay, this is happening, I'm not going to let it really affect my writing. I'm like, no, it's going to get tied in. It's all part of this
Yeah.
journey of mine.
Wow. And so are you writing it as like a novel style kind of memoir? Or are you writing it as a series of short essays? Like, what is your methodology as a writer?
It's more short essay-ish for now. It's, I would say, when I'm trying to tap into some of my earlier memories, which have been obviously digging up a lot of, dirt, silt at the bottom of the pond for me.
Yeah.
I try to remember that I can write it from a novel-ish. It's still like first person perspective, but I can write it from more of a novel-ish like take. For instance, like the chapter I just finished was all about, it was set in February of 2010 as I was preparing for my beloved, who I was in an arranged courtship with, to fly out and spend Valentine's Day weekend with me. And it was La Nina was battering us with rain outside, and I was writing about my stay-at-home role as a daughter and what that looked like and how it was caring for my family.
Okay.
Lonely, sad, missing this boy that I thought was going to be the magic bullet for my depression.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it's, it's I'm channeling what's happening outside right now. That happened 12 no, excuse me, 16 years ago. Wow, 16 years ago is when I was sitting in that, found some old love notes that I wrote to my
Oh my God.
arranged, courtship soon to
Wait,
be husband.
this is the guy you married, not the guy before, because I know there was a
Yeah, this
potential
is the
guy before.
yeah, this is the guy I married. So the guy before, we can talk about
Yeah.
that for a hot second too. The guy before, I was in
Yeah.
a different courtship very briefly, but I was like 16, 17, and he
Mhm.
was, I want to say, in his early to mid 30s. So
Yep. Okay.
my parents were okay with that. Even
Sure.
this is post my sexual abuse too. They're just like, yeah, this is just normal. And I saw a lot of much older, much older
Yes.
like relationships with men who were waiting until she turned 18,
Of course.
and they were a decade plus older than the other, than the other party. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, I've dated some older men now that I'm in my 20s, my 30s, I'm in my mid 30s now. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you're 20 years. I had an experience with someone 20 years my senior. And I'm like, I got to choose that though as a
Sure.
30 something vixen. Let's go. We're
Yes.
at this party. Yeah, you're cool. Let's go. But I got to choose that,
Right. Completely different.
At
Like,
16, it's a little different. Bye, Joe. See
oh,
ya.
bye, Joe.
I was like, everyone
I
on
love
this
that you live with
audience,
your brother.
we've been living here for almost 4 years. Yeah, we
That's so
share
cool.
we share a house. It's a really lovely area. Like it's been a
That's
big
so
blessing
cool.
in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, I love my brother. That's very cool. Lawrence.
I am.
Well, did you see Lawrence's comment here in the StreamYard chat?
Lauren said, "Hey, cute brother."
You have a fan.
Bye, Joe.
All right, adios.
Yeah, ride safe. It's crazy out there.
Yeah, oh my God, into the pouring rain. That's bold living. I'm not going
Oh,
to tell you. Here, hold on, watch this. I'm going to open. Can you see that? Like, the
there's the
South
sunshine.
Florida.
Yeah, I saw I
Yeah.
saw I saw your picture from the beach yesterday. Just slightly
Oh
jealous.
my
Yeah,
God. Yeah, the politics here suck, but for a
I
week
oh
it's pretty
Florida.
nice.
I know. I want to go
Yeah.
explore. I have a brother in Texas because I have a lot of brothers. I have 7 brothers. I think we
Oh my
more.
God.
I have 2 sisters and 7 brothers. I'm the oldest girl,
Oh my gosh.
and
That is a lot of kids.
We're spread out across the U.S. So
Yeah.
like, I haven't made my way to Texas because I don't want to give them my money, and I
No,
haven't
I
made my
would
way to
not.
Florida because I don't want to give them my money.
I don't either, but my parent I grew up here and my parents live here. So here
Yeah, and say your dad.
yes, I went to see my dad yesterday, and I talked about this on the Daily Whatever show yesterday, and I grabbed the video and posted it this morning. We could each share like what's a recent like terrible thing that a dude said to you? This one is a funny one that I'll share because he was, I don't know, 1,000 years old. I don't know how old the guy was at my dad's memory care, but he was new to me, and was sitting across from my dad at breakfast, and like nonverbal except for kind of groan, moan, oh,
Ugh.
vocalizations, lots of like thick
I don't like them that old.
drool.
You.
Yeah, no, 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 no. But he's drooling. And I used to work with stroke patients and in nursing homes,
Yeah.
so I'm very comfortable being around older folks. And so I just looked at him and was like, "Oh, hi, I'm Dana. I'm Mitch's daughter," because we're sitting at
Yeah.
the same table, and that's polite.
Yeah.
And he just sort of has this vacuous stare, and I'm like, "Okay, so we're not real with it." And I turned back to my dad, and this man who did not say any words except for this the whole time just starts looking pointedly at me and chanting, um, "Big melons, big melons," like over and over again. And my dad had melon on his breakfast plate. So for like a hot second, I'm like,
Like,
"Oh, does he want what my dad's eating?" And then I'm like, Oh, no, no, no. He's talking about me. And he's
Wow.
like looking to my dad because we were the
Um,
only three at this little table, sort of looking to my dad to confirm, like, right? And like, because no one was really paying attention and because of this, where people were positioned, I'm the only person who heard it. And me being me, the feminist killjoy that I am, I at first like sort of,
you're like,
puff up like a cobra, like, what did you just say to me? And then I'm like, no, I'm not going to take down this like barely
oh.
alive man. Um, and my dad's aide, who is this delightful guy, was sitting behind and he saw I was engaging with him and he was like, be careful of that one. He's handsy, was what he said to me. Like the staff had told him that. And I
Oh.
was like, oh, can you understand what he's saying? He's chanting big melons. And the guy was like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I mean, he's not wrong, but also like it never ends. I'm like, you like you probably haven't had an erection since like the first Bush administration, and you're yelling at me from
Yeah.
your like
That's
and
it.
looking to
That's
my own father to affirm
under
who
purity culture standards, Dana. You should
it's
immediately
normal,
go buy a turtleneck, just cover up, wrap
right,
those babies, make sure no one has
right,
a hint of big melons ever again.
right, and to
We
just
can't
and to
have old
just
men
take it and
chanting.
be like, thank you, sir. Yeah, it was interesting. My dad didn't understand him and he was kind of absorbed in his breakfast, and he's every time I come see him he's a little different, and he was pretty spacey yesterday, but I
Okay.
was like, what would the dad I knew have done? Because he always leered at women. Like he probably would have made a joke about it and been like, because he's like my
Mm.
old, like the dad I grew up with probably would have done that.
You
I
know,
don't know. And I don't know if he'd realized what this guy was saying, if he would have been like stood up for me, because he's so different now. And
yeah,
weirdly, like this is a completely incongruous conversation, but it feels related. He is always, my dad and his late wife were very Republican, very big fans of Trump during, like they voted for him in, the first go around. Obviously, he hasn't voted because you're welcome. We did not give him a ballot and he's not cognitively intact enough to ask. But out of nowhere, right after this, he's like, Dana, who's the president right now?
you're like
And I was like,
Nixon.
I'm not gonna say his name. Like it
Yeah,
just so like I almost told him, because it was, I usually answer honest questions honestly, but I was like, I don't want to hear about how much my dad loves Trump right now. And
sure.
also layered on top of it was this like Trump 1.0 sucked, don't get me wrong. But how could I explain to my father, who's really the biggest cognitive declines have happened since then? Like he was
Sure,
still like pretty much okay during
sure.
Trump V1. How could I try to explain? I think what I said was, because I said, I'm not going to say his name. And he said, why? And I said, because he's ruining the world. He's destroying everything right
Yeah.
now. And he was sort of starting to ask why. And then there was a distraction. And, that's as long as his attention span is. But I was like, I think in my head, I was like, what would he say if I could somehow like give him the understanding of what the last year and a half has been like living under Trump? And would my dad now still be supporting him? And I think the answer is yes. And I think that's why I couldn't start
Fake
talking
news,
about
fake
it.
news.
Right. And so I'm like, this is probably going to end up being an essay I'm working through right now, because
Yeah.
whenever I see, I write about him a lot. And I'm like,
Yeah.
when the guy was yelling big melons, I'm like, well, there's my essay, right? Um, but
Mm,
it was it was strange that somehow some part of his brain asked about who's the president right now, right after that happened. And and I was like, wow, like if he were still cognitively intact, would he be okay with all of this? Would he be like, the Epstein files aren't a big deal? That's nothing. I don't even know what people are upset about.
I mean, Prince Andrew got
Trump,
arrested this morning.
I saw
I mean,
that.
today.
Like,
Latest today, yeah.
yeah,
So
like
it's
now us US, come on. Like I
yeah,
think Lawrence posted this, or I'm paraphrasing him. He posted something about like, if the brother of the prince can go down,
yeah,
come on, US, who can we take down? Like it's
yeah.
pretty terrible. And it does, it colors, it even colors the nursing home and my relationship with my dad. the dementia,
Yeah,
everything that's happening. Like you can't help but take it on.
I think a lot of women are in that place of reckoning with family members or former
Hmm.
friends, former ties,
Yes.
etc. Where it's like, are we really going to let the standards of what's acceptable and pro- my bodily propriety be set by icky
Right.
old pedophilic men? Are we? Is that where we are? Or are we in an era now
Right.
where women are saying, I've had enough. I'm going to date who I want to date. I'm going to pursue the type of relationship that I want because, yes, again, sex, no matter what it is, you're in some sort of quasi relationship for a temporary amount of time. You get to set that
Yes.
time, you set the rules. And I'm going to, am I going to
You
let
can
some
try.
Yeah, you can try. Am I going to let some old man tell me how to deal with my sexual reproductivity and what I wear? No, we're in an era of like, I'm done. I'm throwing it in the garbage, and it's demented, garbling, old weirdness can get flushed away at this point. I'm sorry. I'm not referring to your dad. We're not
No,
referring to your,
that
but
element of
we're
him and his generation, I have no problem with you saying that. Yeah, I,
as a mom, I was gonna say as a mom too, like I think a lot of my reckoning came from realizing that I want to live my life in a way that I would be okay. And not that I can control my daughter's choices, but steer them towards an authentically lived life that isn't a lie, that isn't hidden, that
right.
isn't muting myself to make other people happy, and I would hope the same for them someday. So that included
Yes.
reevaluating the men that I'm allowing into my life to participate with me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh
No, it makes perfect sense. And it's interesting. This is a slight conversational veer, but it's because of something you said around, these are the only things I'm allowing in my life, and I set the rules. And I'm like, and I said as much as we can.
yeah,
Um, a conversation I was having with Lawrence offline the other day around, um, obviously consent, super important. Um, you know, we all know those rules, but the idea of people being disingenuous and you giving consent to something sexual or otherwise, that after truth comes to light about this person, you're like, well, I didn't consent to that because you were disingenuous. Like, I had an essay
you hid
about
parts
this.
of yourself from me, right? Like the guy that was,
Yes,
engaged to a woman who's upset that he's now sleeping in with me in a back grain room of a brewery somewhere. I'm like, I didn't know this about you.
right. So that's exactly what we were getting at, of like, if you give consent, like, can you give consent when you don't know the circumstances? And obviously, when you're getting, when you're being sexual with someone you don't know that well yet, you don't know everything about them. But if there's something
Yeah.
major being hit, the example that was up for me was like I always say, like, when you're entering into a new sexual relationship with someone, you have nothing to go on but your gut, your reaction to them, and your words.
Yeah.
I'm always very plain spoken of like, this is not casual for me. I don't expect a wedding ring after this, but I do expect we're going to know each other and we're going to explore this. I'm not starting this with the intention of it happening once. I'm starting this with the
Yeah.
intention of um, exploring and this to see if this can grow into something more.
Yeah.
And it has happened multiple times where that ends up getting yanked away very quickly. And
Yes.
to me, I'm like, I didn't consent to this, is the words that always come to mind. And I'm not talking in the legal sense. Obviously, you consent beforehand and during, and you can
Yeah.
after the fact be like, that was rape, that was non-consensual. But
Sure.
from a
But you
moral
you
from a
thought
moral
you
perspective, from a
yeah,
moral perspective.
you thought you'd laid out the what was
Yes.
acceptable codes of conduct to you to be able to access the taking off of the clothes, and you're like, well,
I like that you're acting it out.
I can't help it. It's just, yeah, part of who I am.
Yep.
But
right?
You lay out the rules, and I mean, on a really weird other end of the spectrum, I've laid out the rules for men where I'm like, I'm only looking for something
Mhm.
that casual. Please don't ask to be my boyfriend. Please don't tell me you love me. I don't want to hear that right now. I just don't want to hear
Right.
that. You're
Oh,
over
that's
here
such a
and
trope though, Anna. The whole like the
ah,
woman will say that and then the dude is like, "Oh, because she doesn't want that, I am going to chase it." Right? That's such a God, we were just watching some
oh,
goofy
so we're
movie last night. My Oxford Year, it was called. My mom and I were watching some goofy romance movie, and that was the whole thing. They're like, "This is just for fun, right? It's just for fun."
yeah.
And so of course they fall madly in love. There's a reverse psychology happening with when you are telling men like, "Oh, I'm just here for fun," and they're like, "But I'm going to change your mind, girl."
But I've been in the
But
I really
yes,
want, it's funny because like in 2021 I went through this phase of, this is in line with what you were just saying, this phase of,
yeah,
look, I'm going to play by somebody's rules. I'm going to wait until like date 7 or whatever. I literally just had a
yes,
girlfriend, tell me this happened to
yes,
her, where it's like,
yes,
I waited until date 7. I did all the right things. I told him I was really interested in sex. The minute we had sex, he's like, you know what? I just don't see a romantic future.
yes.
And it happened. That still happens.
Happens
I
all
did
the time.
that. I went through my phase of like, where is that boyfriend? I want a boyfriend. I want to be in a relationship. How come
Hmm.
I'm doing everything by the quote unquote dating book, and it still ends with them saying, well, that
Oh.
was fun, but I just, I'm gonna go do other things now. You're like,
And other
you
people.
literally, and other
Yes.
people, yes. I was like, you literally just juggled me, didn't you? Fuck you.
Here's my favorite. Here's my favorite. I'm gonna write an essay about this line of like, you just deserve more than what I can give you right now. So the leaving by being like, oh, I'm doing this for you because clearly you're the kind of person who deserves more than this. And like that makes every like one of my zillions of red hairs
Yeah,
stand on end of like,
I've
don't
gotten,
tell me what I need to do. Don't make
yes.
this about me. I knew what I was doing. We spoke about. So yeah, the when you're like, this is the world we're moving within, cultural norms impact us all. And
Yeah,
when they get shitty, like when your own words and your own guts betray you, then you're
yeah.
sort of like, what have I got left? I know we're almost out of time. And I had said, what is a crazy story that's happened to you recently? Because you post some very sexy, amazing photos, even on Substack, where I'm like,
Huh.
girl, this is like, look at you go. You must get crazy reactions, right?
Yeah, crazy story in terms of how people have reacted to my
Sure. Just something
stuff.
about moving through the world as a woman, and you're like, what just happened?
Um, I mean, there's still a comment I haven't responded to yet on one of my Substack notes where the guy was
Yeah.
like, "What's the difference between flirting with someone and hitting on them? Does one involve paying?" And I'm like, "Oh, I have God, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to educate men right now." But
Right. Does one involve paying?
involve paying. You don't know the difference between
No.
hitting on someone and flirting with them. One involves using your brain. The other involves just being a chimpanzee who is like, can I
Oh my
get your
God.
number? Are you single? Nice
Yeah.
curve.
Yes.
That's
My PP likes you. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, you make me happy. I'm like, I'm sure I do.
Oh my God. I can, yeah. Yeah, you're gorgeous and you're audacious, and I can only imagine some of the comments that's a good one. Hitting on versus flirting, like fair question. And because I'm a word nerd, I'm like, oh, hitting on even sounds violent,
It does sound
right?
violent.
I mean, it is
Yeah, it's
violent.
commonly used like phrase, right, in our
Yeah,
society. I was just hitting on her, like it was so innocent. You're like, doesn't sound innocent.
it doesn't
What
sound
is flirting?
innocent.
Well,
I've
I'll be
never,
attracted to your brain primarily if you're flirting in the right way, right? It's like I'm gonna be
yes,
like this thing inside me is gonna be more stimulated. That's flirting.
yes, you're absolutely correct. You're
Yeah.
absolutely correct. And it's, at least with me, typically more effective, right? Right.
Yeah.
Flirting is and hitting on, at least in the online, like that's coming forward and being like, hey, sexy, if you're hitting on someone, or DTF question mark. And you're
Yeah.
like, really, does this ever work? This is your leading line. Where yeah, flirting
Yeah.
might just be like, Wow,
What a big
love
book you.
your right. Yelling big melons. That
Like,
never works. Big
no,
melons.
it
But
doesn't work.
Lawrence, if you're out there listening still, I think I need a t-shirt. I do not.
Exactly.
Lawrence makes
But
t-shirts. But
yeah, my
again,
crazy my crazy stories this year. I mean, again, since I've taken myself off the, I can't even say that. Oh my god! Since I have retired my dating for a year, just involved being like, no, no, you still have a girlfriend. We can't hook up. You know, haha.
right.
Like dealt with my fair share of that. Still dealing with it. Like it's ongoing. It never
Oh my
ends.
gosh. That I mean, that dude, the 90-year-old dude hitting on me only confirms it never ends.
Mm-mm.
Men who behave badly will continue to behave badly
And
forever.
it's not on us to fix them.
It
It's
is
not
not
on
on
us
us
to
to
fix
fix them.
them. Gotta say
That
that.
is the pitch perfect ending note for this fine feminist hour.
Thank you,
Thank
Dana.
you, Anna Wick. You're amazing. I know Karen Marie Shelton, you are also amazing in that you have been sharing Anna's link
Oh,
repeatedly in the
thank you.
chat.
Yes,
I
yeah.
thank you. Please, if you are not already subscribed, go follow Anna. Her work is amazing. And thank you for tuning in. Lawrence and I will be back tomorrow for Fucked Up Friday. We have Nick Perro joining us. We're going to
Ooh,
jump into the news of the week. You know what? I might pick preview for my most fucked up thing of the week because I just saw it last night and my eyeballs are still bleeding. Is the photo shoot of RFK Jr. and Kid Rock working out in their jeans.
let's talk about a non-sexual, like that's a big sexual turnoff. Thank you. Thank you for reminding us we are still not sexually attracted to you, RFK Jr. or Kid Rock.
My friend Stephanie Drury. I don't know if you follow Stephanie, but she's also grew up in a very conservative Christian environment, and you guys would love each other. She's been on our show a couple times, but she shared the picture. That was where I saw it first, and she said something about like this is part of her like straight person conversion therapy exercise. And I was like, yeah, it's so repulsive. His like RFK's nipples like pointing at you can like it's just so gross. So
Uh,
that might be my fucked up Friday story of the week because and you know that their idea of fitness is like beef tallow.
yeah,
Go
they're.
eat beef and pump weights.
I'm sure they fry their raw milk in beef tallow.
Oh my god. Oh, they take a shot of each and then they just go out and start like trying to sexually harass women, and that's a day.
Yeah, there's a whole subplot story with RFK Jr. and that affair. That's a
Ugh.
whole nother podcast for a whole nother time. But yeah, yeah.
It is. Please come back. We will have that
Oh,
podcast another time.
thank
Thank
you,
you
Dave.
all so much
Lauren.
for joining. Enjoy the
Bye,
rest
you
of your
guys.
day. Love you, mean it. Bye, everybody. And Lawrence has to end this because he controls our StreamYard.